What's going on, guys? Josh here with BFPC coming at you on a Monday afternoon. Today we've got a tier list video. Tier list video. Today I'm going to be giving my opinion on the most popular workout splits, the pros and cons of each, and I'm going to be ranking them from S tier all the way down to D tier. By the time you finish watching this video, you will understand which one of these splits might work best for you and which splits maybe not to run. Maybe you're thinking about running some splits and I make you think otherwise. Now you might be wondering, hey, where's the F tier? I did not include an F tier because all of these workout splits will get you gains to some capacity, and I feel like an F tier is reserved for a split that just will not get you any gains. If you put in a reasonable amount of effort, each and every one of these splits will get you some sort of gains. So the lowest I'm going to rate any one of these splits is going to be D tier. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So what do we have here? So starting from the left, we've got upper lower. This is full body, push pull legs, Arnold split, bro split, the CBUM split, and then this category is an others category, which encompasses basically everything else other than these. And I will explain more of what that is later in the video. All right, first let's do upper lower. So upper lower is a split that can work very well for some people. I've heard certain influencers really glaze upper lower as just being this like S tier split. To be honest, I don't really understand why. I mean, I've tried it for a couple months and it worked okay, but I just ran into a couple of issues. First and foremost, it was just really easy to overtrain, especially with the upper body days. Trying to train this split like 5 or 6 days a week. I found it difficult to balance recovery, and I'd have to lower the volume on certain days to compensate, just to not have overlapping muscle soreness. This may not be a problem for people who know how to program very well, but I think for beginners or early intermediates, this is pretty much an unavoidable problem that you're going to run into with this split, especially if you're trying to run it for like 5 or 6 days a week. Also, an upper day to me is just too many exercises to do in one workout. Like, the upper body has so many different muscles. Like, you want to train the pecs and the delts and the biceps, the triceps, the rear delts, the upper chest. Like, there's just so many exercises that you have to fit into an upper body day that it just ends up becoming way too chunky of a workout. And I found that I would just be in the gym for way too long, or I would get really tired, like exhausted towards the end. Again, people who know how to program can probably find ways around this problem. But I think for especially beginners and early intermediates, I think most of these other splits, especially full body, just make more sense to run. I will say though that if you do nail the programming with this one, I think the higher frequency can actually be really nice for hypertrophy. And also there are some really good strength programs that use upper lower, such as PHUL. I personally think this split makes the most sense to run if you have exactly 4 days in the week to train. Any less or any more, then I think that one of these other splits just makes more sense. And to be honest, even at the 4-day-a-week mark, I think in a lot of situations, full body even sometimes just makes more sense to run. Overall, I'm gonna throw it in B tier. It's just kind of mid in my opinion. Again, it can work well, but given the cons, I think most of the time it just makes sense to run something else. So on that note, since we just mentioned it, let's go ahead and do full body next. Full body is another one that I've heard people swear by as being like an S tier split, and it is the ultimate workout split in theory. because you can program it to get the exact amount of frequency and rest that you need for each individual muscle without any type of required structure. Now, the reason I say in theory is because in practice, it is very easy to overtrain on the split, especially for beginners and early intermediates. It's very difficult to balance the frequency and the volume on the split without significant trial and error. I think if you have a good handle on the recovery cost of each exercise and how much volume you as an individual need, I would probably agree with the fact that this is the ultimate split. I'd probably recommend full body to anyone that wants to train 2 to 4 times a week. Any more than that, and you'd have to be pretty good at programming to get it right. And that's really only something that you're going to get with, significant trial and error or experience. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in A tier. Just because of the overtraining thing, I don't think it quite deserves S tier. I know some of my more advanced homies are going to be torn up about that, because I think for some people it definitely can be S tier, but this is just my current opinion, could change in the future. So next we got the beloved by many. Ladies and gentlemen, we have push-pull legs. Guys, I love push-pull legs. I ran it for the first couple of years of me lifting, as many people do, and I did see phenomenal gains on it. But I'm probably never going to run this split again, and I'll get into why later. But push-pull legs is just a solid ass split. I mean, it's cleanly divided. You got push muscles on one day, pull muscles on another day, and then leg muscles on the third day. You got great frequency for everything. It allows you the flexibility to really push volume high on certain workouts, or even keep volume lower if you want, go for higher intensity. And because of that second day, it's fine with the frequency. Not only that, it's just a very intuitive, fun to run split. Push-pull legs does have one major flaw though. I feel that it really puts arms on the back burner to the point where the other muscles in your body really start to pull away from your arms after a while, which isn't really a problem at first, but really does become apparent after running the split for an extended amount of time. And unfortunately, that is the reason that I will never run this split ever again. The way that it treats arms is just not really it. I think it's a great beginner split. I really wish I could put push-pull legs in S tier, but I mean, due to that pretty significant flaw, I think I'm going to have to drop it in A tier. It's a very solid split, and I mean, a solid A tier pick, one of the best that you can run as a beginner. And that brings us to the Arnold Split. So for those of you who don't know, the Arnold Split is legs, chest and back, and then arms and shoulders. So it's a 3-day kind of legs, torso, and limbs split. This is the hypertrophy split that I'm currently running, and I absolutely love it. To me, in my opinion, it kind of just feels like push-pull legs too. I mean, it's almost like the devs came in and just fixed all of the bugs with push-pull legs and just made a better version of it. The separate arms and shoulders day really allow you to hit the arms with the frequency and intensity that they need without sacrificing anything. All I'm gonna say is my bro Arnold was definitely onto something with this split, and honestly, I really have to stretch to find any cons with this one whatsoever. If I had to pick one thing, I would say that like maybe the frequency with certain muscles is a little lackluster. Like maybe the shoulders could be hit with a slightly higher frequency, and that really is just a nitpick. I mean, To be honest, anything that you feel isn't hit with a high enough frequency can easily be made up for with increasing the volume on a given workout. Arnold Split really genuinely does deserve S tier. If you haven't tried this one yet for bodybuilding, I highly recommend giving it a try. Next, we've got the brother of all splits, the Bro Split. I have ran this split for a couple of months, and I'm just gonna be honest, this split is kind of pure garbage. Especially for natties. It is just awful. The frequency is just way too low. If you don't know, the Bro Split is basically just one muscle per day. It's like a 5 or 6 week split. So a lot of people will do like quads and then back and then chest and then hamstrings and then like arms and shoulders. Some people run it on 5 days, some people run it on a 6-day split. I found that the frequency is just way too low on this split, to the point where you just have to absolutely stuff your workouts with volume to get your adequate weekly volume. So what ends up happening is by like the last 2 or 3 exercises, you are just burnt and you're kind of just like going through the motions. I found that like by those last few exercises, I couldn't even feel my muscle working anymore. That's how much volume I had to do. I do want to try and give the Bro Split credit where it's due. Like I said at the beginning, if you go hard on this split, you will make gains. While I do think that if you exclusively run this split, you are holding yourself back in the long term, you will make gains on this split. You will. This is especially true of, our brothers and sisters who partake in the gear. Their muscle protein synthesis remains higher for longer, which makes this split work slightly better. Also, something that was quite unexpected was after running the split for a couple months, I actually ended up with significantly better endurance and work capacity than when I started. And I guess that must have been because of the sheer amount of volume per workout and the fact that I just wasn't used to that going in. But it was a nice unexpected benefit to running this split. For most people though, I think the higher frequency from literally any other one of these splits is just going to be objectively better. And I think if you're training the Bro Split, you are just holding yourself back long term. I'm gonna go ahead and put this split in D tier. If you enjoy training this split, then that's fair enough, but I think you are holding yourself back long term, like I said. And if you're thinking about changing to this split, I would say just don't. It's mostly never a good idea. So moving on, next we got the CBUM Split. So if you don't know, this is an 8-day cycle split. So it starts with legs, like a quad focus legs, push day, chest and tris, a pull day, back and bis, and then rest. And then you come back and do, chest and shoulders, and then hamstrings and back, and then arms, and then rest. So overall, I would say this routine is set up pretty well. However, this split feels more like something that is tailored more to CBUM specifically, more than something that should be generally ran. Just looking at how it's set up, I feel like you might as well just run like push-pull legs or Arnold Split. Like, I don't really see the benefit of running this one over like one of these two. They're just so similar, and I think these are set up slightly better. And the reason being is just that I feel like the shoulder, particularly the shoulder and the leg frequency, seems to be a little bit on the low end. It could be higher. I think most people would benefit from it being higher. Also, for some reason, I just feel like whenever someone tells me that they're running a CBUM split, they just tend to like chronically skip the gym. Like, just be honest if that's you. Like, be honest if you fall into this category. It's almost like the CBUM split is like this shiny object that is somehow gonna fix their gains instead of them just like showing up and putting in the work. But overall, despite all that, overall solid split. I actually think it's set up quite well, and it could be, you know, a fun to run split. Like, oh hey, I'm training like CBUM, that's cool. But just because it does seem like it's set up more for CBUM himself, I'm gonna throw this one in the bottom of A tier. I wouldn't quite put it in B tier, but like I feel like it's almost close to B tier. So A tier, bottom of A tier. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about the other splits, which is just basically any other split that's like not these mainstream splits. So anything made by like influencers, bodybuilders, strength athletes, coaches. I probably could have included the CBUM split in here, but I decided not to. Also, you might be noticing that I used Godzilla as a picture for this one, and I did that just because Godzilla is an absolute unit. He can probably bench 225, so I decided to throw him in here. I feel like he deserves it. So in general, I would just say for a pure split that you're getting off the internet, it's probably not going to be worth running over these main splits. Now, for like an actual program with pre-made progressions, that is a little different. There are some good programs out there and some bad programs, but in general, I think if it's made by somebody reputable and it's vetted, I think yeah, it's definitely good to run it. And I think you can, especially for beginners and intermediates, you can see very good gains besides just running a split and having progressions on as an afterthought. It's hard to rank this because it is super broad, but I think in general, I'm just going to throw it in S tier, like a middle of the road S tier, or I'm sorry, at S tier, just a middle of the road C tier. I think it's not worth running just as a split, but I think as a pre-made program with built-in progressions, I think it can be super beneficial for a lot of people. All right, so let's go ahead and go back over the final rankings. Starting in D tier, the worst split on this list is the bro split. Moving up to C tier, we've got all of the other splits, so like influencer splits and whatnot. B tier, we've got upper lower. At the bottom of A tier, we've got the CBUM split. Then we've got push pull legs. At the top of A tier, almost S tier, but not quite, we've got full body. And then in S tier, the best split on the list, in my opinion, we've got the Arnold split, based Arnold. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you think I'm wrong about any of these rankings or if you think I'm right. If you agree with me, throw it in the comments, let me know. And lastly, this is pretty much a follow-up video to my last video talking about how to choose the best split that fits your specific needs. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and give it a watch. I'll link it up right now. And that's about it. All right, y'all. Peace.